Girl, look, the fact that they needed 3 parts to this reunion, get them damn husbands out here so we can go home, because this is just not giving. Y'all ready to talk about it? Cue the music! Oh yes, bitches and hoes, I'm back.
I drop a player like it's nothing, it ain't working out. Now no debate or fuck discussion, bitch, I'm walking out. My time is money, I ain't loving, let you toast it out. Flip my weave and walk it out, look how I just bossed it out. Now come on baby, why you bugging, we can't talk it out. I keeps it moving, I ain't tripping, lost another spouse. I'm just a boss, it's in my blood, no I won't scream or shout. Grabbing my keys.
Cause oh yes, bitches and hoes, I'm back. Back with another video. We're here to discuss Real Housewives of Atlanta Season 14 Reunion Part 2. And girl, we still just on Marlo. I felt like we got enough of Marlo from the first part, but here we are on the second part and it's more Marlo. I mean, they touched on other people here and there, but it's just Marlo, and I'm over it. I ain't even gonna lie. I'm not trying to be insensitive or nothing, but Marlo, you had a rough childhood, as a lot of us have. Yeah, it's no excuse for you to be nasty and dirty to people and say the heinous things that you say. Trauma responses are real. However, we do have some sort of self-control in some things. That's all I'm going to say. But let's get into the episode. So the episode opened up. Marlo's still over there talking about her childhood. And basically she ends up, starts off with, they can't bring one guy, produce one guy they say I slept with, yet they call me hoes. Well, and they said, well, hold on now, Fat. Didn't you call Candy a hoe? And she said, I said that, girl, yeah. Remember you said her pussy been ran through all up and through the streets of Atlanta? Because it was a key. I ain't gonna lie. It was a key. But Kenya interrupted as usual. And just like, girl, you just full of crap. You talk about everybody on this couch. We all know that. And that's just what it was. Again, Marlo, it's hard for people to really want to take up for you when you still go back and do the same stuff. And then you get this so-called convenient amnesia and you don't remember that. Girl, bye. Anyway, Sanya jumps in and interrupts after Kenya was like, I think she full of crap because she talked about Candy vagina or whatever the case may be. And then Sanya was like, I think she's a good friend. You know, with my experience with her, I think she's a good friend. Drew tries to jump in and Marlo says, girl, bye. You call me crying, girl, about Ralph and all that BS. Girl, please. You the last thing to talk. Drew, have several. Ain't nobody ask you. Have several. Please have several. So now they bring up the robbery. Andy asked her about the robbery thing, and she said it was really scary. She woke up to Michael or William or one of the boys yelling, and they had the video footage of her, them dudes trying to break into her house. Listen, that looks scary as hell. Scary as hell. And you know, her house got robbed around the same time Anila house from Housewives of Atlanta, not Housewives, from Married to Medicine. I think somebody else, it was a bunch of people who got robbed from them houses. But my thing was, how they know who houses to go to? And we gonna get into that with doggone Married to Medicine. But yeah, Marlo said she told them people down there, if you come up here, bring your ass up. You're gonna walk up, but you ain't going back down. Said it. I stand by that message, and it is what the hell it is. It's heavy artillery upstairs. You got to know that. In my house, it's heavy artillery upstairs. Let's move on. But anyway, they bring up Kenya's tweet. Kenya saying basically that she felt like it was a fake robbery or whatever because she didn't tell the girls. Kenya, I ain't gonna lie, when I saw that at the time, I was like, that's super insensitive. Like, there's no way of explaining that to make that dressed up nice. Like, oh, she could have told us more details. She don't have to tell you nothing. First of all. Secondly, the fact that she just mentioned that there's a string of robberies or that she was robbed was enough information for you to do what you needed to do, Fat. Andy asked all the other ladies, do they feel like Marlo wasn't being forthcoming? And they said no. They spoke to her. She talked to them through a group message that they have or whatever. It's just, listen, Kenya and Marlo has this beef. And we all know that, and that's fine. But Kenya and Marlo has this beef to where they cut each other below the belt. I know a lot of Kenya fans don't like to admit that, and I get it. I like Kenya this season. For the first few seasons, couldn't stand it. I ain't gonna lie. Marlo get on my damn nerves, and Marlo full of crap. Don't get me wrong. However, it was extremely insensitive for her to feel like Marlo needed to stop everything and give her full details. Marlo claimed the police told her not to say nothing, and even if they didn't, if she didn't want to if she didn't want to include all specific details, that's that girl right. I mean, she going through a traumatic situation. Why? I don't understand that. King, you was down bad if you ask me. That's just my opinion. Now, Andy asked Marlo about kicking the boys out. And he was like, you know, give me your story and the things that you had going on. How then can you turn around and kick the boys out? Candy agrees. Candy was like, yeah, you know, that was one of my things. Like, seeing that you went from pillar to post, house to house, and these people kicked you out, how can you then turn around and kick the boys out? Before I'm going to give you Marlo's response, it's a trauma response. That's how she can kick the boys out. It is what it is. It's no different from how people who get assaulted or people who get essayed and all that stuff turn around and become prostitutes and then or others may inflict that same harm on other people. Those are trauma responses. They're not right, but they're trauma responses. But Marlo's whole thing was maybe her choice of wording was wrong. Kicking them out, that's not what I really meant. I just needed a reset. I needed a break. I needed a chance to get myself together and then have the boys come back. But again, Marlo, wording is the most, your wording or people's wording is the biggest part of packaging. You calling it a reset now might be taken better if you had said that then, but saying I'm kicking the boys out and then getting on TV saying how you were kicked out of many spaces is giving, let me do the same thing to the boys that was done to me. I'm not saying that's what you did, but I'm just saying that's what it's giving. It is what it is. But she said she needed a reset. She said because at the end of the day, she would have laid hands and feet on them boys. Listen, y'all be getting mad, but this is the honest to God truth. Like Marlo said, I was a single Monty, just throw a couple of dollars at y'all, blah, 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 blah. I didn't have to be a full-time mama. I ain't learned this shit. I ain't take no parenting class. I'm figuring this shit out as I go, as Marlo will later on explain that she's been doing her entire life. She's figuring it out. And guess what? Along that route, you're going to make mistakes. Could she have used a better word or better wording than I'm kicking them out? Absolutely. Could she have presented it in a different fashion where the boys won't feel like they're being kicked out? Abso-freaking-lutely. But trial and error is allowed for everybody. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. Anyway, let's move on. So, he asked that she heard from her sister since the whole incident with the boys, you know, in court and all that stuff. And she said she hadn't heard from her. But Andy asked about her response of let's cry for a little 15 minutes and then we got to move on. Marlo's whole thing is the reason I have that mindset is because growing up the way I grew up, that was all I could do. Like, I could sit in there and cry for my BS, and then I got to move on and find a solution. Listen, that is me. I am the girl who, at the onset, I'm snotting and crying. I ain't gonna lie. Snotting and damn crying because I'm hurt. But I can't sit in it. I got to move on. That's just me. We move to the next scene. No, before we move to the next scene, so Kenya interrupts asking for a tissue because Kenya is not here for it. Kenya was like, girl... And, you know, Andy even was like, girl, Kenya, you just act like you don't care. She said, because I don't, because she full of crap. Girl, I ain't got time to go back and forth with all of that. They go back and forth, and I'm tired of both of y'all. Let's move on. Ralph is Drew's package, and they talk about Ralph gaslighting her. Drew, let's hurry up and get this section over with, because I'm over. Anyway, Andy asked the girls if he knew how they felt with the producers being all on them with the receipts and all that. All the girls were shocked. They were like, well, damn, we didn't know y'all was coming like that this season. But Andy asked how Drew felt about the gaslighting package or how Drew felt like Ralph felt. And she said Ralph felt some type of way initially. You know, he was like, dang, they put together a whole package. Yes, fool, you on TV. Not to mention you do gaslight them. Duh. Like, I'm confused as to why we even talking about how he felt. It don't matter. But they start talking about edges and whatnot. And Marlo lets us know she used Kenya Moore hair care and the edges are growing back. Go ahead on for the Kenya Moore hair care. Do I believe Marlo using that shit? Hell no. She probably went down there and bought it. I don't know. But I don't believe she using it. That's my opinion. But so Andy asked Drew about Ralph lying, talking about he played football at Rutgers. And he was, you know, kind of playing on words, talking about, well, I was on a team, I was a red shirt, but I ain't never get in. Boy, you wasn't a football player. And then Drew, well, looking at his body, you could tell he was a football player. Pause, Drew. He got a dad bod with some nice arms. That's different. That is different. He not built like he could run on the field right now and do a hut. He got a dad bod with some nice arms. Personally, I am here for the dad bods. I love dad bods. That's typically my type of man because, see, that's a man. You know what I'm saying? That's for me. But we're not going to act like Ralph is out here, you know, dad buying it up on a football team. They asked her how she felt about her summer spring comment. Oh, it's coming in summer spring. Girl, we still at summer and spring and we ain't got nothing but them Sheen clothes. Then they asked Candy about her bitch I'm worldwide merch. I ain't know she had merch. Candy said it's flying off the shelf. But you know one thing about her, she gonna get a coin. Let's move on. It's Kenya package. They do a flashback of her saying, I am the moment. And you know what? I gotta give credit where credit is due. Kenya is the moment. Wherever she goes, she is the moment. So now Andy asked Kenya about her Dancing with the Stars thing and asked if the girls felt like Kenya was a new person after Dancing with the Stars. Everybody agreed. They said, you know, this Kenya this year had a different aura and a different, you know, every glow about herself, a different attitude. Kenya was on, listen, I was here for Kenya the most this season than I've ever been in the past. Not saying I haven't been for her, but I was here for her more this season than anyone in the past. They asked her if she got a divorce, girl. She said no. They still holding up, playing, acting crazy. Girl, you can go back to the judge and make him make this dude sign these papers because he playing. I'm sorry, I can't be playing around back and forth. I need to go be a hoe legally. You get it? So yeah, she's saying it's at a standstill. And they asked about Drunk Kenya and do everybody like Kenya? Drunk Kenya, yes, we all like Drunk Kenya. Drunk Kenya is the girl you want at all the parties. But he asked her if she dating and she said she group dating. Now it threw me back for a second, but it turns out she just means she's dating in groups of people, I guess. Let me find out you be at them places down there in Atlanta. Don't ask me how I know. I'm just saying let me find out. But the fan asked Sanya about the couples trip, about her keep telling Kenya it's a couples trip and you keep betting that in that girl head like you don't know she ain't got no man. Sanya's whole thing was, girl, look, I wasn't trying to shade her. I just know when Candy had the trip to New York, she kept harping on the fact that she didn't know it was a couples trip because she would have bought somebody. So she felt she needed to mention that to Kenya so it ain't no misunderstandings. However, she also told Kenya, girl, look, you ain't got to bring a couple, a significant other, bring your girlfriend or whatever the case may be. Kenya just wasn't trying to hear all that. So, you know, Kenya stands, you know, they gonna have their backs. You know they gonna have her back. But she said she wasn't trying to make the girl feel bad. And then they asked Kenya if she felt bad for hanging up on Sanya. And Kenya said no, because you know Kenya gonna stand by what she do, say what she said. She said, I don't feel bad about it or whatever. She said, but I do remember one time I hung up on my grandma and my grandma came down there and beat my ass. So look at Andy messy ass. So how would you feel if Sanya came down there and beat your ass? And she said, now you're being messy. I ain't gonna lie, I feel like Sanya might get her. I'm sorry. Anyway, we moving on. They asked Kenya why she was so upset about missing outfit. Like you really, really want to be at outfit. Kenya's whole response was, look, girl, I just didn't want the girl to think I was BSing her. And I really did, you know what I mean, want to be there. And like Sanya said, girl, look, I had lost my phone. I was all over the place. It was okay. I wouldn't have thought like that. You the one took it to the next level. I don't know, Kenya. I feel like Kenya needed something to say and a reason to be mad about something. Then they asked her about saying Ross was aggressive. Now, I will give Kenya this. Kenya did come back and say, you know what? At the time, you know, they played the flashback. I felt like that or whatever, but I understand. He was a man, you know, defending his wife. You know, it is what it is. She understands. She said Ross is a nice guy. She don't think that, you know, Ross was trying to be on her like that. And like Sanya said, he wasn't cursing at anyone in particular. He was just standing up for his wife. As she should. Listen, we all don't have a man that's going to stand up and put the nuts down and his feet on the table. You get it? Shout out to Ross taking up for his wife. And then they asked her why she wanted to play that shady ass game at Brooklyn birthday party. She said, girl, I thought it was going to be a key. I didn't know them girls was going to get into it like that. And then they asked Candy how she felt about Sheree saying she sucked dick in the locker room. Listen, Candy, if I had a chance to suck dick in the locker room, I would do it. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Like Sheree said, girl, look, we've all sucked dick all over the place. It ain't that big of a deal. But Candy was just like, you know, listen, I'm with Sheree. The way you talk about sex so freely, girl, why would that even bother you? I'm confused. It wouldn't even bother me. I mean, if I suck dick in the locker room, it was with my man, as long as it wasn't with nobody else's man. That's all that matters. If I want to suck my man dick in the locker room, then let me get on my knees and use your knee pads or your shoulder pads for my knees so they won't hurt. Because, you know, the locker room floors is hard. I'm confused. Girl. Anyway, But they ended up asking her, Kenya, if she's still on her Dancing with the Stars high, and she says yes. I'm here for it, Kenya. I like Kenya. Moving on to staying in her package, and they talking about her and her family. Girl, talking about her and Ross ain't on the same page. They not. She wanted a baby. No, Ross wanted a baby. She ain't want one. Then she said she needed him to listen to her. Then he finally said, okay, I'ma listen. So then she took the IUD out, told Ross he only got 6 months to get it together. And he said, I be damn, I done waited all this time. You gonna give me more than 6 months. So all we know right now is the IUD is staying out. And they asked her if she, you know what I'm saying, if they back on the same page. She said, yep, my husband listening to me. Now I'm ready to go ahead and get knocked up. Ross, you got to stay home to go ahead on and get her knocked up. Let's move on. It's Marlo and Kenya package. Again, Marlo, here we go again. We back to Marlo. Marlo and Kenya beef the whole season, so they do a package for them by themselves. Andy asked Marlo where it started from, because he was like, look, Kenya feels like it started from you making that comment about her mama not wanting her. Where do you feel like it started from? Marlo's whole response was, look, girl, Kenya ain't like me from the beginning. Kenya has been short with me, nasty to me since the very beginning. It just is what it is. She only wanted me to be her friend to spite Portia, and then Kenya jumped in and was like, girl, bye, you didn't like Portia by yourself, don't put that on me. And you know, and it's just what it is. So then Andy asked Marlo, how would you feel if Kenya never forgives you? And she was like, I'll be hurt. I don't think I'll be able to manage. I don't think I'll be any more good in the world. You know, milking that shit. And Kenya was like, girl, please, I'm not going back and forth with you. That's why your real name is, what she said, Latoya, Letitia, something's Latoya, something Marlo's real name is, and the producers produced the birth certificate. Y'all got to stop. See, it's a new age in these reality show streets. See, back then you had to remember in your mind. You know what I'm saying? The receipts for the tea. But now the producers is producing them immediately. Shout out to the producers. But the girl name is Marlo on the birth certificate. Now I don't know if it's fake, but the one they showed, her name was Marlo on the birth certificate. So now the fan asked Kenya why she feel Marlo's words were so hurtful when she the same person go around saying hurtful words to other people. I'ma stop them when they start lying. Y'all got to be honest. Y'all know Kenya has done and said some fucked up shit to people. We all know that. Kenya has done and said some horrible things to people. But see, when it get done back to her, not taking up from Marlo, because Marlo needs to be held accountable for some of the stuff she said. But what we're not going to do is act like Kenya is a straight up victim. She been victimized, but she ain't a straight up victim. Kenya's whole thing is, girl, look, it's not even about that. Marlo got to get her shit together. She come back, want to be friends, then she want to give a sob story after she done doggone backstabbed me and all that stuff. People ain't got time. And Kenya ain't lying. Listen, I'm with Kenya. People don't have time for that. You have stuff going on. Everybody done had stuff going on. People not about to keep going back and forth with you. But a fan asked also if they think that their relationship that they have with each other mirrors the relationship each girl had with their parents and their upbringing. I think so. Marlo said hurt people, and we both heard fat. I've been telling y'all that. Y'all don't want to hear me though. Listen, the only difference between Marlo and Kenya, in my opinion, is Kenya's ability to snap back real fast with a read, and Kenya's ability to not give a F. That's it. That is the only difference between them two. Kenya could be a cold son, but you know what now? Don't act crazy. You could be damn near shot in front of Kenya. If Kenya don't deal with you, gon' step over you. I'm just saying, it ain't a bad thing, but they have more in common than they have not alike. I've been saying that since the beginning. Now they start bringing up, they back and forth arguing. And Kenya was like, she talk about everybody like she ain't been to prison. I'm going to need everybody in the audience to understand the difference between jail and prison. Prison is when you go upstate, out in the country, where ain't nothing out there but the prison and the barbed wires. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no houses, no stores, no businesses around. It's just up there. That's where you go do the hard time. Jail is where you have an offense on the streets and they bring your ass downtown. Marlo had to bring up, girl, I've never been to prison, just been to jail. So they start talking about why she went to jail. She said in her 20s she was wild at 5. That's just what it was. She was doing all type of stuff. She said she went to jail for, what she said she went to jail for? A fight with a girl. Because, you know, King was like, you slashed a girl in the face. Girl, ain't no rules in fighting. But she went to jail for a fight with a friend. Then she went to jail a couple of times after that. She was just live at 5, you know what I'm saying? In her 20s, but ain't been to jail allegedly since. That's what she said. But Marlo tell Kenya, you a lying ass bitch. Girl. Moving on. Sheree, Drew, and Anthony package. Girl. Sheree, Drew, and Anthony. Now, Anthony has started all this mess between Drew and Sheree. And honestly, I feel like, in a way, Drew knew that. But Drew needed something to talk about on the show. So Drew brought it up. So now they play their package of Anthony saying that Sheree don't pay her bills and whatnot, or whatever the case, and Drew running around telling everybody Sheree don't pay her bills because Sheree actually didn't pay her bill, especially when it came to the party they threw, the surprise party they threw at Drew's house. So now when they come back from the flashback or whatever, Andy basically asked Drew, he was just like, why did you know what I'm saying? If you, no, he asked Sheree, he said, Sheree, if Anthony wasn't your assistant, why do you have that as his contact in your phone? And Sheree said something I do all the time. Sheree said, when I take people's phone numbers, I put a title next to them so I can know how to remember them. I do the exact same thing. Girl, I got college coaches. Coach, I ain't gonna say coach, oh no, this I do. I say coach, blah, blah, blah. Southern New Hampshire. I'm just using schools. You know what I'm saying? I always put a title next to people names that I don't know personally so that I can know them when my phone rings. I do it all the time. So like she said, he wasn't my assistant. He just was an assistant. So that's how I put him in the phone. It is what it is. I'm here for Sheree, and she didn't stutter, so we know she wasn't lying. But they asked Drew why she was running around taming the girl and pay her bills. Drew said, I ain't believe it, but you was running around saying it, Drew. You believed it. Stop acting crazy. And then they asked Drew if she paid for all her assistants, and she said, yes, I do. Pay them very well. As a matter of fact, with Anthony, I paid to get his car out of repo. Take care of all my girls. All the girls are taken care of, is what Drew said. How y'all getting all this money? Moving on, Drew played a tape of Anthony saying that Sheree lied on him when Sheree claimed that Anthony said Ralph was gay. And he asked Drew, after they told you they heard it for themselves, why would you go ahead on and just believe Anthony? And she said, well, because he said he didn't say it. I got the recording. She played the recording. And, you know, Sheree went up there and called Anthony on the FaceTime and asked Anthony, did you say that you was, do I owe you any money? Were you ever my assistant? And he said no and no. And then he turned around and said, well, no, Andy jumped in and was like, well, Anthony, you did say that Ralph was gay. We have it on tape. Like, why did you act like you didn't say that? And he was like, well, when Drew asked me at the time, I probably didn't remember. But you know, at the end of the day, Drew is a cloud chaser and she needed a storyline. And it was at that moment, I was like, girl, I don't know why none of y'all talking to Anthony. Anthony is full of shit. Drew, didn't you just say you paid for his car to get repoed? Had the people come back and repo it because he on TV making you look a damn fool. Sang is over there, the only one saying this dude is a problem. I've been saying that, but they just want to let it ride. That was the end of this doggone episode, girl. It was alright. I'm ready for it to be over with. Let's move on. Drop down in the comments and let me know what y'all thought about this week's episode of the Housewives Reunion Season 14 Part 2. And please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Follow me on TikTok at Voodoo Doll TV. Same thing it is on doggone YouTube. And I will see you hoes later. Bye.
Mr. Carroll, how you give the voodoo doll time to talk? I don't get no fucking time to talk.
Who the voodoo doll is?
The nigga you just had up here.